I'm here with our boys from the Keg, Joey Werk, Matt Dickson, Chwadi Lati, and also special guest Peter Loshak here to talk on AL and break down some teams we like, some divisions maybe we're a little high on, teams might be a little high on, bets we've made. But I do want to say quick, Chwadi's going to be giving out a Ken Griffey rookie card. Is that correct, Chwadi, at the end of the show?
That is. Then we're going to have a giveaway towards the end, and someone will nab that. It's not $1,000 card, but for something that'll take you 1 second to do, hey, there you go.
Yeah, so we'll ask a question at the end of the show. First person to get it right will in fact win the card. So I guess without further ado, we could probably just dive right in. Again, same kind of format. American League. What teams do the shortened season hurt and help? I know the Red Sox came up before. Chwadi, what's your thoughts on this shortened season, American League? What team does this help? What teams does this hurt?
Again, I go to front end starting pitching, and that's the Rays. So easy answer there. And you'll hear the Rays more and more from me as we go.
Yeah, so the Rays, the Rays top to bottom would seem like a real efficient team. The issue is that the division they end up playing in. I mean, obviously they have to see the Yankees a bunch. I mean, a large percentage of their games end up being against the Yankees, which is kind of unfortunate. But they do get the Orioles for a large percentage as well, so that's good on that behalf. Joey, what are your thoughts on teams that this shortened season helps and hurts in the AL?
Yeah, I definitely think the Rays as well, and I also think the Blue Jays. Toronto is arguably like the most exciting young team in baseball. If their bats can start hot and the additions of Hyung Jing Ryu can perform, Toronto might be able to sneak into the playoffs. You never know. I also think the Angels with studs in Trout and Rendon, if they get quality starts out of their starting pitching, that's really the question. Heaney, they added Dylan Bundy and Griffin Canning. If he shapes around, this team could probably compete in a shortened season as well.
Yeah, I know this might be a hot take. I think Ryu gets bombed in the American League.
He probably will in the AL East, but keeps the ball down.
It's not because he's a bad pitcher overall, but he's a pitcher that really relies on location. And you can just get buried in the American League, especially with the division he's going to have to play in for this shortened season. Look, he could come up and fist me about it, but I don't know. I'm not big into. But the bats for Toronto, you can't ignore. I mean, that team has some solid lumber in that lineup. Pete, what are your thoughts, American League? Chwadi's hitting the bottle. What are your thoughts in the American League, Peter? Help, hurt?
Going back to what we talked about with the National League, I'm mostly looking at teams with top end depth, and the team that fits that profile to me is the Yankees. They've got a bunch of strong arms in the bullpen. Those arms won't be, because of the weird extra innings rule for this year, where the teams start with a runner on second base. That means there's going to be way fewer of those, 13, 15, 18 inning games, which means that the elite arm, the better arms in the bullpens will be fresher the whole year long. And I think just based on the way the Yankees rotation and their bullpen is set up, probably helps them. I think the Rays as well, and the Rangers have some strong arms in their starting rotation as well. They might be able to work some shenanigans in with their strong arms, the starting rotation, do some half starts, starting pitchers sharing starts or whatever. It might help them, but I definitely have the Yankees as a team that it might help, and it might hurt the White Sox. They have a lot of talent, but they have some personnel issues to work out. And with not a lot of spring training, who knows? I don't really have any American League team where I think it's going to hurt, but definitely the Yankees and the Rays and the Rangers, it probably helps.
Yeah, I think more than ever, bullpens are so important this year, just because you're going to get a lot of quick triggers from managers pulling starters. Teams with good bullpens are really going to shine strong. Obviously, Yankees, Rays are right there. Go ahead.
I know. I was just going to say, I can't overestimate enough that I did some research into this, did a bunch of things, and I was interested to see how the that rule with the team starting the extra innings with the guy on second base will affect things, and it's going to have a major impact on the length of extra inning games, which means that your top and your upper middle relief pitchers are going to be a lot fresher in general, which that would be the case normally, even if it were a 162 game season. But with only 60 games as well on top of that, whoever has, 3 or 4 strong bullpen arms is going to be at a big advantage this year.
And the part that kind of sucks, and it's not so much a betting thing in general, but like with the shortened season where you're going to want to keep continuing to get your arms action, I don't think you're going to see a lot of at all of like those position players throwing. Like, like when you're up like 15 runs and they bring a positional player, like those are the best, right? When Jose Reyes came out, it was last year or was it the year before when he just got absolutely bombed by I don't remember what team was it, the Cardinals? I don't remember what team it was, but he got absolutely mashed. And what a time to be alive. But so let's slide into underrated, overrated teams. Pete, what do you think from underrated, overrated American League teams you might be targeting? Because obviously, look, the Yankees, Rays are going to be the heavy markets overall. Well, maybe what are some teams you might be high on versus the market or low on versus the market?
Yeah, I mean, I will say, the Rays have probably been the most interesting team in baseball over the past, 10 or 15 years. And of course, they were, chronically undervalued for a long time. Those days might be up, though. Last year, I remember, their lines were very appropriate based on my numbers and based on the final score results. So, the Rays are a phenomenally impressive organization, but I'm not sure the betting value is going to be there this year. I have some numbers, and again, my numbers, far from the best in the world, are saying that maybe Toronto is a team that's going to be a little bit undervalued. There's a lot of youngsters there. You don't know how are they going to have a big jump in their next year or sort of a sophomore slump experience. But I have Toronto circled as a team that might be significantly undervalued this season. Boston is tricky. On paper, Boston looks like they're going to be overvalued, but their new guy in charge is a guy who was from the Rays for 15 years. That's the guy I don't like betting against. You know what I mean? Same thing with Minnesota. Minnesota's a team that's, on paper, according to my numbers at least, due for some regression at the same time that the market's probably going to be giving them a ton of credit. But I really don't like betting against that program in any way, shape, or form. I think there's going to be a few bad teams in the American League that are also going to be maybe overvalued. Detroit, I don't know, man. They look awful. I know they have some stud starting pitchers in the minors. Those guys might come up and just like, who was the guy for Baltimore? The Means. Remember, when Baltimore was a fade every game except when Means was starting, and then they were a playoff for the first 5 innings. So Detroit might be something like that this year, but whenever they have a non-stud starting pitcher going, they look like they're going to be bad and a good bet against anyway. So Detroit's a team that I think might be overrated, even though they're expected to be horrible. And maybe Toronto, a team that I might expect to be, I think might be a little bit underrated.
And Joey, what are your thoughts? Underrated, overrated American League?
Yep, I agree with the Blue Jays for the reasons I mentioned before as well. So, and also I like the Indians. I do expect them to battle with the Twins for the division. They do have the starting pitching edge and a solid lineup. They did add Domingo Santana and Cesar Hernandez. So I do expect them to battle Minnesota for the division, and especially with the shortened season. You can get the Indians plus 265 for the division possibly. I'm also very high on the A's. I bet them back in March.
Yes.
And I got them plus 400 to win the division back in March. That number has long gone. But I do think they compete with the Astros losing starting pitching. Now they basically have Verlander. I'm not high on Greinke at all. And then a bunch of guys that are very questionable starting pitchers the rest of the way. So I do think the A's have a lot of value as well.
I agree with that. Just wanted to jump in.
Yeah, Greinke's all right in the regular season. It's once the playoffs happen where that guy turns into a whole other animal. Chwadi, what's your thoughts? Underrated, overrated American League?
Houston's a little overrated. I mean, obviously that lineup is ridiculous.
Yep.
But I don't know. Let's see how they hit with, not that their cheating really made them a good hitting team. We all know they're a bunch of studs anyway, but you got to figure their hitting will regress a little bit. And frankly, I don't really like their pitching like I have in years past. So I think they're an overrated team. In regards to an underrated team, I guess we'll go White Sox. They still can't pitch the ball very well, but holy shit, can they hit? I mean, you're talking about Lewis Robert being their 7th best hitter. He's going to be their rookie. He's their 7th best hitter on that team. This team with Jimenez, Abreu, Moncada, Tim Anderson, who I think led the league in hitting. You're going to put Robert out there. I mean, they're filthy. So I think that their offense is going to get them to around 500. So I see them as a surprise team, and Red Sox overrated. Yeah, I mean, that pitching staff is terrible. My biggest bet so far in the preseason was under 31.5 wins. I don't know how you would have them set at 31.5 wins. That's just ludicrous. So that was my biggest bet in the preseason.
Yeah,
Or
and I think, I mean, I think the Angels specifically hold a lot of value, especially if you're on the page of Houston's a little overrated. You're really relying on Oakland's bats because, I mean, Oakland had some good starting pitching last year, like as far as what the numbers look like. But like the people that were doing it long term haven't been good. I mean, they had good years, but like, yikes. Especially, I mean, I know I promote Zach. I mean, what's his name, Homer Bailey, but like last year, but he sucks. I mean, and he was one of their better pitchers last year. So I'm not sure I believe in them, but the Angels, I mean, look, they get Rendon. I mean, and they can kind of string together a little bit of streak. And obviously, look, Trout is what he is. So I'm definitely, I see some value with them there. Now, if we were to break down a few of these teams in the division and who we think the division winners will be, Joey, for the AL, we can start with the West. Who do you think comes out of the AL?
So the AL West, I definitely would take my chance on Oakland. I think the line now is Oakland plus 230 now. I gave it out back in March when I did a couple shows at plus 400. Now, obviously, it's got bet down and whatnot, but I do like Oakland to come out of the West. I do think Texas is going to be – they arguably have the best rotation in the division with Kluber, Lynn, Minor, both set careers highs in Ks and innings last year. And then 4 and 5, they added Jordan Lyles, who had a great year last year, and Kyle Gibson in the offseason. The Angels also going to be in the mix. I throw the Mariners out, but I'll take the value with the Athletics.
Yeah, I mean, Texas is interesting. Obviously, they bolstered that starting rotation, but man, that's one of the biggest hitting parks in the game. Interesting to see how some of those arms do there. So, Joe, if we're going to slide into maybe the Central, who do you think pops out of there?
So the Central, I'm going to take my chance with Cleveland here. I think they have a better rotation than the Twins. I get the Twins. They added past Berrios and Ordozzi, who I'm not very high on. They added Kenta Maeda, who's okay. And then they got Homer Bailey in the 4 spot and Julio Chacin in the 5 spot. Who are both very hittable guys. The White Sox are going to be good as well. They added Dallas Keuchel, and Gio Gonzalez. But one of their star, Mike Kopech, he just said he was going to sit out the whole season. And I was very high on him. I'm pretty sure he sat out the whole last season from Tommy John. He's supposed to come back, so he's out. But they do have the stud in Lucas Giolito. Detroit is going to be garbage, and I'm not high on the Royals either. So I'll take Cleveland in the Central.
Yeah, I like the little bit of risk there. And in the East, I mean, I see the hat you have on. So what are you thinking there?
I think, honestly, all 3 teams, the Yankees, Rays, and Blue Jays, all can compete here. With the short season, I'm probably not going to take the Yankees to win the division. I will be betting against the Orioles. I think they're really bad. They lost guys, and they're just getting worse. And the Red Sox, obviously, the rotation is trash. So I will be, if I had to pick a team, I would take the Yankees. But I'm definitely not going to bet them to win the division.
Yeah, and we'll slide over to you, Chwadi. What do you think? And we could stay in the East. Who do you think pops out of the East?
Actually, that one I didn't really consider.
Yeah, I mean, you got the Yanks who are obviously going to be.
I'm gonna take Tampa. I'm gonna take Tampa in this. They're just from top to bottom the best team. I mean, when you're going to run out Morton and you're going to run out Glass now, and then you're going to throw the lefty in there with Blake Snell, I'm going to roll with Tampa. And frankly, their lineup isn't that bad. Like, a lot of people shit on their lineup. It's not bad. Obviously, you have an up-and-comer in Austin Meadows who's going to be an MVP candidate probably. So we're going to roll. We're going to roll with the Rays.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. I mean, from top to bottom, you could definitely argue they're going to be able to compete with the Yanks. Interested to see the Yanks, who are so power heavy, they can definitely go through a cold stretch in this short season. So interested to see how that plays out. And the Central, what are you thinking there, Chwadi?
I'm going to go Twins. Although, to what Joey says, he makes a lot of good points. I think the Twins and the Indians are going to be neck and neck the whole year. Obviously the Twins are one of the top 3 or 4 best hitting teams, and the Indians are probably one of the top 3 or 4 best starting teams anyway. And they have a good bullpen too. But I see the Twins just maybe edging them out by a game or something at the end.
And then in the West, who do you think? I know you said the Astros were overrated. So what do you think in there? Maybe Athletics or Angels?
No, Astros. And the only reason I have them so overrated is because they're such on a pedestal. Everyone thinks they're so good. So that's why I said they're a little overrated. But I still think they win that division. I'll tell you what, I really like the Angels. Does it get any better than Trout, Ohtani, and Rendon in the middle of that lineup? That's tough there. They can stay. They still got Simmons out there. I mean, that's a good team too. Their pitching obviously needs some help, but yeah. So I'm gonna still roll with the Astros on this.
Yeah, I mean, switching in that middle, I got to figure 3, 4, 5, righty, lefty, righty, with Trout, and they could even go 2, 3, 4. To be honest, I know Trout likes to hit the 2-hole. So that their pitching is the big concern there.
Yeah.
And then Pete, what are your thoughts? Let's
start with the West.
Okay, yeah.
The West. Because I don't know why you guys are so high on the Angels. I mean, I love this team this year from betting value because I have them circled as look for overs, But as big of a deal as pitching depth is going to be this year, that's a big liability. I mean, they're going to win some games with their offense. They might be the Nationals of this year with a terrible bullpen and winning it all anyway. But I definitely their pitching looks very iffy to me, and they're a team that I'm looking to bet on overs with. But as far as betting value on their money lines, I would expect them to be appropriately valued. They're going to lose a bunch of games with that pitching as well. I think I could be wrong, but I was just a little bit surprised to hear you guys also high on the Angels. So yeah, in the West, the Astros, as you said, I think they're probably going to be a little bit overvalued, but still a stud team. But if I had to take the Astros at like minus 175 or Oakland, I'm seeing it like plus 280. I would take Oakland at plus 280. I think that they have some real young live arms. And if they all go down with injuries, which is possible, then yeah, it's going to be a disaster. But they have a strong defense. I'm going to look for unders with them for sure. But also, I think they're going to be a little bit undervalued, and I just love the young, strong pitch. They have a lot of power pitching, which might not be. It's probably going to burn out over a 162 game season, but 60 games, no problem. That's a lot of firepower they have in those 22-year-old arms. So I like Oakland in the West, and again, looking for unders with them. And at plus 280, I would take them to win the division over Houston. Although I wouldn't bet it, but if I had to take one of them, I would take that.
Yeah, and I think the Angels' love, at least from me anyway, is really a price thing. Like you could get 6-1 team in that division is more or less a team. Yeah, it's got 3, 4, 5 in the middle of that lineup. That if they just do what they normally do, they don't have to be hot either. If they just do what they normally do, you're talking a team that you're going to need 5 or 6 runs to beat on a daily, for the most part, daily, especially in this heat. Because remember, baseball is resuming now in the middle of the hottest part of the year, which is going to favor the bats. But it's just a value thing. It wouldn't, I'm not really in love with that. If they were less, I probably wouldn't like them at all. But it's really a value thing. And what do you want to jump to now, Pete? I just
wanted to say, I don't disagree with your analysis, but then compare that to their likely value with overs, and to me, it's just not even a comparison. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Where do you want to go now, Central or East, Pete?
Where do you want to go, JJ?
Let's go to the Central.
Okay, that's interesting because maybe I run with elite handicapping circles, but I'm a little bit surprised that the White Sox haven't gotten bet down more because everyone I talk to who I respect, like Twatty and many others, likes the White Sox this year. But to me, they're like the most hyped team aside from like the Dodgers this year. There's so much hype. The analytics love them. The people who model baseball that I know love them. But they're still plus 320. I'm seeing here to win the division. Minnesota minus 125. Minnesota is still going to be a great team. It's a great program, but they're definitely due for at least a little regression on paper, at least. And the White Sox have their issues. But at these, I don't really like the Indians. I think they're going to be good in spots, and they're going to have games where they have great betting value. But overall, I have them rated as overall the entire season, all things considered, as just slightly above average. So at these lines, I would definitely take the White Sox at 3-1 over the Twins at -125 for sure.
I like it. I mean, fade the chalk a bit, and I like the little. They're like the third favorite there. So I kind of like the ballsy choice there. And then American League. American League
East.
East. What are you thinking there?
The East is just tough. I just hate, even here in 2020 in the quarantine. Any situation in life, I hate betting against the Rays. But on paper, the Yanks look so good to me, and doing some tinkering around with the new rules and the 60-game season makes them look even stronger to me on paper. Their bullpen looks great. The lineup, obviously, they could have a ton of injuries again, and then they could lose it out. But if I had to take the Yankees, if I had a free bet, I'd probably take a shot with the Yankees. It would make me more uncomfortable to bet against the Yankees, even at -270, than it would make me to bet against the Rays at 3-1.
Yeah, Yankees to me is a similar situation to the Dodgers, where if they make the playoffs, which you assume they will, but if they don't, obviously it's a different conversation. But if they make the playoffs, man, that is a tough team to beat. 3-5, 3-5, 4-7. From a top to bottom perspective.
They're going to get some good innings out of that relief corps.
Oh yeah, and obviously Cole makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
And now, who do you think comes out of the AL and plays in the World Series? Twatty, I'll start with you. What team do you think? Obviously you don't need to go out on a limb, but who do you think ends up coming out?
Rays. Houston. We'll go Houston against the Rays, and we'll take the Rays. Rays to go to the freaking World Series.
Nice, I like it. I mean, you can get good value there too. I'm trying to see whether 8-1. So I kind of like that call. Pete, what do you think? Who pops out of the AL?
I'm surprised to hear that Twatty's so down on the Yankees. I'm wondering why.
I just love the Rays. I love the Rays.
I do too. I just see that. Yeah, I mean, they keep tinkering. They got a very lefty. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe once again, I'm not giving them their full due credit. I don't know. I'm seeing here, the Yankees at +175 to win the pennant, but the Astros at +475. I think that's a little bit of a disrespect to the Astros. I mean, the Yankees could have some injuries. It wouldn't take that many injuries on the Yankees for the Astros to overtake them. So at those lines, I'd probably take a shot with Houston at 5-1 over the Yankees at like 2-1 or 3-2.
Yeah, I like it. And then Joey, what do you think?
I mean, I'm going to go Yankees. I'm going to be the homer here. But if you want to throw a shot in the dark, I like Cleveland +1100 and Oakland +1200.
I'll tell you this, like the +175 for the Yankees to make the World Series. Like if I was going to, I'd rather bet that than bet them to like win their division, because you could argue if they make the playoffs, they're going to be like -250 to make the World Series. So, if you truly believe they're going to make the play, like make that bet. Like bet them to make the World Series at +175, because if they make the playoffs and they don't sneak in with a wild card where they have to like one game and done, they're going to be like legit -225, -250 to make the World Series. So you could have some value there if you were going to make that bet. Now, speaking of bets, any bets you guys have made come into the season relative to the AL? Pete, I know you said you hadn't made anything, but anything you might be looking at for the AL? I know I had kind of hinted at a little value there if you were going to bet the Yanks to make the World Series versus to win the division. What do you think might have some value, props, anything, MVP candidates from the AL?
Okay, well, I don't have the Oakland season win total in front of me right now, but I'm guessing that I would probably like the over. Let me see what else. I mean, I'd have to say, Boston is in rebuilding mode, and even a genius coming over from the Rays will probably need 1 or 2 years, and he's probably not going to reveal all of his tricks this year in this 60-game season. So probably Boston on the under is a good play. Take a shot with Toronto on the over as far as their season win total is concerned. And let me see. There's got to be some teams that
Oakland is 33.5, by the way.
33.5. Yeah, I definitely. Well, yeah. I mean, they're playing in a. They got to play Houston and the Angels and everything. Yeah, I haven't run the numbers as far as their schedule is concerned, but I'm kind of high on Oakland, and I'm thinking that Baltimore that's a team that might quit. And what's Baltimore's season win total right now?
20.5.
20.5.
20.5?
Yeah.
No shit. Yeah, I might take some rugby money out of there, and or maybe try to get a little bit of credit and put something. Yeah, the under. That's got to be a good bet there. Under 20.5. Wow. Okay.
Well, it's an interesting number because you got to figure every road game they're going to be at least 2-1 dogs every road game. At least.
Yeah, they'll be a dog in every game this whole year. Except
they're not going to be really favored in any game all season.
Maybe
and then on the road, at minimum, they'll be 2-1 dogs every single game. So it is definitely an interesting number overall.
I'm surprised. Okay.
Yeah, I would have expected that to be in the higher teens. I wouldn't have expected 20. Now, Joey, what do you think on some bets maybe coming into the year for the AL?
Yep. So I agree 100%. I was definitely looking Baltimore under 20.5. Oakland to win the division. Again, I bet it back in March, but now you can get about 285. I do like that. And then, maybe, I do like probably Baltimore. I mean, Boston under 30.5 as well. But the only one I locked in was the Athletics to win the division.
Yeah, I like it. And then, Chwadi, what do you think? Any bets that you would find at least appealing coming into the year?
This one's easy for me. Ohtani, MVP. First off, I think he's the third best player in the game, behind Trout and Acuna. I think he's unbelievable. I will gargle his balls all night. This guy is unbelievable. He's been hurt. Furthermore, if he goes out there and wins 10 games and hits like he should hit, he's one of the best hitters in baseball. Plus, you're going to put him on the mound, and he's dominant, throwing 99, 98. He strikes out more than a guy an inning. How can you not give him the MVP? Who's going to be more valuable than a guy that wins you 10, 11 games and hits you 35 home runs and 115 RBIs? So to me, that's a value play there.
What are the odds on that?
He's 30-1, and it's worth noting that the Angels have 3 guys 30 or 1 or better to win MVP, and they have 2 of the top 4 to win MVP on the same team. Trout and Rendon. Trout's 2-1. Rendon's 14-1 as the third as the fourth biggest favorite to win MVP. So yeah, I mean they definitely have sticks in the middle of that lineup. That if they get hot, especially for a stretch of 20-25 games, man, that wouldn't surprise me at all if that team can reel off, 18, 19 wins out of 25, which would put them on a good pace to make the playoffs. And
long shot, JJ, sorry. And long shot, I'll tell you who my Cy Young Award winner is going to be here in a minute. That's going to actually be for the Ken Griffey Jr. card. But I have a long shot, Frankie Montas. That guy's filthy, and no one knows about him. You can get serious money on him.
I have him as a keeper in my fantasy league, so some people know.
I know about him.
The steroid drug dealers know about him.
They know about him. Yeah, lots of people know about him.
Well, no, this is what we do. We know about him, but I mean, a lot of people don't know. I didn't mean to offend anybody in the chat, or I'll shut the fuck up. But no, I mean that's a nice long shot.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess we could do some final thoughts on the AL. I think it's pretty clear from me. Like, I think if you're going to bet a team to win their division, I think you're better off targeting a team that you truly believe will make the World Series, make it, not win it, and make that bet instead because you'll find a little more value there. And again, I'm a little high on the Angels at the price. Again, I'm seeing 550, 6-1, a little higher than 6 at some books as well. I just feel like, and I know that their pitching's not there, but over a short sample season, good hitting can ultimately outdo bad pitching in short samples. And again, we're looking at a short sample this year, so it wouldn't surprise me. Again, a lot of rock solid bats in the middle of that lineup. So that's something I would be considering as my final thoughts. Joey, what are some final thoughts you have from the AL?
Yeah, so I tend to agree. Betting the Yankees to win probably the AL is a better bet than definitely laying the wood on them. But again, if you can get Tampa Bay at about 3-1 to win the division, I'm kind of liking the dogs to win the division. If you bet a couple of them, one of them is definitely going to hit. I really truly believe that one of these favorites is going to probably not make the playoffs. There's going to be a team that we're not even talking about here that makes the playoffs, and we look back and be like, and one of those teams could be, Cleveland. It could be the White Sox. You never know. It could be the Blue Jays as a long shot, But that's the way I'm looking at it here.
And then, Chwadi, what are some final thoughts you have from the AL?
Nothing. Well, the one thing that sticks out to me with the AL, there is teams all over the AL that can mash. I mean, everyone can mash in the AL. So, it's definitely definitely the more offensive league, and I look for a lot of overs coming out of there. As a matter of fact, before we bounce out of here, I have some over/under teams and some under teams before we bounce.
And then Pete, what are your final thoughts from the AL? Anything you want to leave with?
Yeah, there's a lot of teams that can mash in the AL. Not Texas though. That's a team that I'm looking for unders from. We'll see how the park plays, but that's a team that looks pretty lacking offensively. So I'm looking for unders with Texas, probably unders with Oakland as well. Although I might fine tune it with first 5 or second half totals as well. Definitely looking for overs with the Angels. Definitely looking for overs with the White Sox. And those are my final thoughts.
Awesome. So I guess we could leave off with maybe answering a few questions. But before we do that, Chwadi, you got a little giveaway going on, right? So you want to fire off your question, and then let's see.
Let me just, because a lot of times we do these videos and the people leave with nothing come opening day. So I just want to go over a couple quick things. Some over teams and some under teams that you can start betting from day one. I know, JJ, you're kind of old school with that. You like to feel your way in, and that's great. But these are a couple teams that I think from day one you can start betting. Over teams: White Sox, Twins, D-backs. I have it written down. That's why I'm looking up there. Royals, Red Sox, Jays, Astros, Oakland, Angels, Mets, Brewers. And then my only standout under teams are Rays, Nats, and Reds.
Awesome. Yeah. So Chwadi, do you have a question, right, that you want answered for to win the card?
Yes. So we're going to give this Grippy away right now. So the question is, whoever answers first wins it. So get ready. Who do I have as my AL Cy Young Award winner?
Yeah. So guys, fire off who you think Chwadi thinks wins the AL Cy Young.
Who you think Chwadi thinks will win the AL Cy Young?
Got Montes, Luzardo, Verlander. Chwadi, when you see him, just say it's the winner. Cole, Glasnow, Berrios, Glasnow, Montes, Tani, Morton, Giolito, Flaherty, Montes, Cole.
Wow.
Again, it's AL. Morton,
Should I give him a little hint?
No.
Flaherty, Cole. We're not there yet. So you can guess different names. Luzardo, Greinke. God, imagine if it was Greinke.
Oh, there it is.
There it is.
Oh, someone got it?
Yep, Bristol.
Wilhelm, my man.
Oh, and the next guy had it too, K. Wolf. Hey, Bristol, hit me up on Twitter and give me your address. I'll put it in the mail for you.
There you go, Bristol. Congrats. But yeah, look, guys, thanks so much for popping in, spending some time with us while we break down a little MLB for 2020. Head over to our site, runpurebets.com. Drop your email in there so we can get you a big discount on our season stuff. And then Pete, thanks for hopping in. Anything you want to promote while you're on here? What's your Twitter handle?
My Twitter handle is
Loshak, right?
P Loshak or something like that. Yeah. My Twitter handle is P Loshak. And if anyone happens to be wandering around Williamsburg, Brooklyn, say hi. Send me a message. We'll hang out. That's what I want to promote. If you want to hang out with me in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, send me a message on Twitter and we'll hang out. That's what I'm promoting here.
Awesome. And thanks for popping in with us. Joey, as always, thanks. Chwadi, thanks again. And everybody, look, thanks for spending some time with us. Going to have content on this channel all week, so stay tuned for all of it. Have a golf video with Mangone tomorrow. Then I'll do a baseball pick video for you guys on Wednesday, and then we got another live show on Thursday. So content's going to be flowing here all week. Thanks again, everybody, for popping in. Stay safe, and we'll see you all soon.
Thank you, guys.